JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F125. And in today's video, this is the type of content I used to do back in the day, where I basically just commentate over an entire 25% race. A lot of people seem to have enjoyed that in the past, and yeah, if you enjoy this, then make sure you like the video. Let me know down in the description, because you're going very deep. So this is a one-shot quali followed by a 25% race. I'll be doing this in my open lobbies, and again, thank you so much for everyone who has been joining those. And I think doing open lobbies like this, especially like 25% races, so not a full-blown league race, half distance, you can learn quite a lot in terms of setups, whether they're going to be league race worthy or competitive worthy in a nutshell. Because again, I've said before that time trial you really need to treat as something completely different, almost like a different game in the time trial, because everything is perfect conditions. You don't have to manage your tyre wear, tyre temperatures. So you come across the line here to 104.0. Online is a fair bit faster than the time trial, but again, this really does depend on your driving style and the setups and everything like that. So if you want to be fast at time trial, that is almost a completely different skill in itself. But today, I thought I'd kind of demonstrate why it is very important to have a setup that is actually going to be good on your tyres. As you might notice here, I'm pretty much the only person starting on the softs. And even for 25% races, it's most likely going to be like a medium to hard that is actually going to be probably the faster strategy, because softs, after 2 to 3 laps, they just go off so quickly. So I just wanted to demonstrate, if you have a good setup that is going to be good on the car balance and good on the tyre wear, tyre temperatures, that, I'm not saying this is the fastest, but it can show how much of a difference it actually makes. So in the dirty air, things like that. So again, if you'd like access to this setup and all of the setups I use for every single track, make sure you click the join button. So yeah, you will be able to see I update those on quite a regular basis. I've done that for all tracks already, which have been working really well. You also get a priority invite into these lobbies, which again, I think is a very good tool to help improve yourself overall. And also you'll get a discount on one-to-one coaching with me, which I do on all platforms. So yeah, right now my tyres are going to be probably the faster one, but then I would say probably after lap 2 or 3, that advantage of the soft compound pretty much just goes out the window. So in this race, I'll be really just kind of speaking out loud of what my thoughts are during this race. You can see going into P2 here. So ideally I want to be in P2. I don't want to be the third man in the DRS train, so making sure we stay ahead of the Ferrari, who is fighting it quite a bit. We're going to get a little bit of a better exit, and with this setup here, it's quite a bit higher in the downforce compared to like a TT. So again, if I use this in time trial, I think I lose like a 10th in the first sector already on the straight, like a 10th and a half, and because you don't have any tyre wear, you don't really make it up in the corners. Whereas setups like this, and when you do make setups, and obviously I've done some videos on how the setups work, I think that's something else that's very, very important. You want to really think of how the car is going to react when the tyres are going off. And again, if you're trying to get into league racing or be as competitive as you can online, Grand Prix mode, even in career mode, things like that as well, you cannot just base a setup on just pure one lap pace, because yeah, it might be great for that, and it might be good at the start of stints on tyres on different compounds, but you won't even be able to use like a soft tyre, and you won't be able to get the best average lap time possible when the tyres are going off. And I can already tell you here, right now, my tyres are already going off, and this is completely normal. I've had quite a few people message me saying, oh, my tyres are going off after 2 or 3 laps when I do like a 50%, even like on a medium tyre. Yes, that's what happens in this game, and that's what I really, really love at the moment, is that you're really being forced to manage the tyres. And even when it comes to league racing, if you're starting on the medium and the hard tyre, even though the tyres might not get a puncture, you're going to be losing a lot more grip lap upon lap. And you can already see the lap times here. We've already gone like a second slower than we did on lap 2, and we're only on lap 4. So that just shows you how much of a drop off there is. So right now, all I'm trying to do here is just stay in second. I don't need to be in the lead because his tyres should actually become faster than mine. If not, they should be faster already. So I'd say right now, you can see the traction. My tyres, the soft tyres, are kind of just melting into the ground. I can tell you now, if I was using like a time trial approach setup, I probably would have spun the car right now, or my tyres, I just would have been so much slower. Because again, the shift of balance would have been just so extreme. So you don't want to be thinking about just pure performance. You want to be thinking about the long-term performance and a long-term consistency of your setups and driving. And again, this is not just a setup, this is also the way you're driving. So it's really hard to describe, and I say this to people in my coaching sessions when we do race runs, things like that. You really want to know there's no specific reference lap upon lap where you need to be braking or turning in 5 meters earlier lap upon lap, but I'm always just taking a little bit off in terms of the braking, in terms of how I attack the corners. I'm turning a little bit early and less. I'm being a little bit more progressive on the throttle, just by the smallest of margins. Every lap, you can see here already, going through that corner, the car's really wanting to slide. So at this point, the tyres are pretty much almost gone, and I'm just using the DRS to stay with them. So these medium tyres are going to be much faster. You can see the car is just sliding around. But the good thing is with this setup, because I've got quite high downforce, it's really minimizing that. But also, again, it's the way you drive. So it's not just all the setup. I'd say setup is probably going to be like 60-70% of it. But then when you're actually executing the fundamentals, that is going to make a big difference. Because I think, again, a lot of drivers who are very good at the qualifying, very good at the TT, they don't adapt their driving when it comes to racing online, if they're doing league races, even if you're doing career mode, things like that as well. And you can see a tyre wear there. After 6 laps, already 40% in the rear. So, yeah, tyre wear is not horrendous, but it's just the drop-off you get. So, if I was on the medium tyre right now, I'd be going probably 3 to 4 tenths a lap quicker. And another guy ahead of me is very good. There's quite a few good drivers in here. We've got Brawny, who's in here, I believe, who's actually behind me now. Got Uniques up ahead, RRL Josh. So there's a lot of drivers who on pace, pure pace, are very similar to me. And again, not saying they're driving badly here or anything like that, but I think I've spent a lot of time on this game just really fine-tuning these setups. And obviously you have to go with what works for you, but also just the way you're driving. You've really got to, every single lap, I'm just turning in that fraction earlier and less. I'm probably braking like a meter to a little bit earlier every single lap. So you might notice like going through turn 1, I probably don't even really get to 100%. So yeah, if we go through the turn 1 here, I'm just being super smooth. I think especially going to like stuff like turn 2 and stuff like that. So if we go into here, you'll see, yeah, we do get to 100%, but nice smooth release. You can see at the throttle just being ultra smooth. So I'm just really focused probably on like turn 1 and this turn 2, just getting good exits up there, probably the last corner as well, because that's where you have the DRS on exit. And you can see now, I could already see up ahead of me that the guys in the mediums, now their tyres are starting to go off, but I've just been able to really keep my balance. So my tyres have gone off quicker than the guys around me, but because of the setup and also the driving style, you can see just seeing super smooth on the inputs, trying not to over-rotate the car, not being harsh on the inputs. You can see here, just try to spot that gap on the inside, so just trying to avoid the dirty air as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I can't do a complete wet line, but I want to try and be avoiding that dirty air as much as I can. Skids tire temperatures are in a pretty good window here, and also if you notice with the ERS, really pay attention to that, because I'm trying to literally just try and keep the battery as high as I possibly can. So I would always recommend when you're behind people, unless you desperately need to overtake or you feel like you're much faster than them, in this scenario there is no point me overtaking. All I need to do is just minimize the gap, because they're probably going to go, or they might even try and go on a soft, or they're going to go on a hard tyre because they're struggling that much. And you can already see again, the longer the race goes on, even though I'm on a softer compound, I just started to feel I was actually having a better balance than everyone around me. And you can see like they're really sliding around, and I'm getting pretty good exits here. So the more the race goes on, that's really what you want with a setup that doesn't just fall apart once the tyres kick in and the wear really kicks in. You want a setup that gives you consistency and allows you to push and not fear about losing the car all the time. So you can see we're running quite high on the tyre wear now, and you can see Uniques has actually had to pit early and he's on a medium tyre. So yeah, we're probably going to be pushing this lap here, and you can see the wings, 45 front wing. Again, if you want access to my setups, make sure you join my Discord, because I've uploaded them for every single track. I think Austria, this one, is, I think I've uploaded it or updated it about 2 or 3 times now. So that's because I think we're always going to be learning stuff. So you can see here now, saved up all that battery. So now I'm going to try and minimize the undercut, which he is definitely going to get. And I believe he's actually gone on the hard tyre, because if anyone tried to go on softs now, their tyres would just be done after 2 to 3 laps. So I think the softs are almost going to be redundant when it comes to a race. I think you're definitely going to be seeing quite a lot of the medium and definitely a lot of the hard. The hard is probably going to be the best tyre on the game when it comes to 25%, 50% league racing. And I think with this as well, if you can really manage yourself and have a setup like this and a driving style like this, that could be the difference between you having to pit twice or pitting once. And when it comes to tracks like Silverstone, where you have like a 28 to 29 pit stop, that might just be what you need to do a one stop. So if you can do that, then they're going to have to be making up 29 seconds, which is going to be really difficult. But then tracks like maybe, it could even be here, could even be, I think, tracks like Canada, Brazil, where the pit lane is quite short, you could probably get away with a 2-stop. Hungary, things like that as well. But again, tracks like Silverstone, I think if you can do the 1-stop, that is going to be an absolute game changer. And you can see, look at the undercut that Uniques has. I think he might have cut a couple of corners on his outlap. See, he's got a penalty, but I want to try and win this on track. So again, with the harder compound, we've got 8 laps of this race to go. After 3 to 4 laps, it's kind of like the hards.
Yeah, I was able to keep my softs really well. So they were mediums and they were struggling. So again, that's why it's so important about the balance.
And yeah, you could just hear me just talk about the balance, what we've been talking about here.
To go on the hard tyre,
so yeah, he's been forced to go onto a hard tyre, whereas we are actually going to mediums. But again, I think if I was trying to go as fast as I possibly could, even though I can handle the balance well, I probably would have done a medium to hard myself. I think that's probably going to be the faster strategy even around here, because the softs just go off so quick. But again, I think just with the setup, the way you drive, if you can really cope with when the tyres drop off, excuse me, then that is going to make the difference. Because there's so many drivers I've been racing with online who I know are very, very quick. When their tyres are dropping off, they just really, really struggle to have that consistency. So I think on this game, and I think we're going to probably even see this in esports, it's not going to be just about the raw fastest driver. I think we've seen that in esports anyway for the past 2-3 years. Like Jarno Opmeer and raw pace is not the fastest driver. I could probably think of drivers like Barry Borromund, Thomas Ronhaar, Fredrik Rasmussen, people that who are probably actually faster at raw pace. And if you did a time trial event over 3 to 4 laps, 5 laps, without having to factor in tyre wear and things like that, he probably wouldn't beat those guys. But what he is really good at, he is really good at adapting, managing the situation. And this is what I really encourage you to do. Also with his driving style last year, there was that very aggressive flicking technique thing. Ismail Fassi was probably one of the best drivers at that. But in the races, on tracks where wear was a little bit more prominent, wasn't quite as effective in the race. And I think that's definitely what we are going to be seeing on this game as well. So right here now, I'm just trying to cruise up to the back of him, not below the ERS, because I'm running quite high aero here. So you just got to be a bit patient sometimes. Just have faith in the car, because it could be very tempting right now to just blast the ERS and then he could use it to defend. Then I'm going to be underneath 10% of the battery. So what I'm really thinking about here is, I know his tyres are going to drop off. I saw in the first stint, I actually had a better balance whilst being on like a softer tyre. So I'm kind of waiting for that. And it's particularly in this second and this last sector here, I was very confident I was running a lot more downforce. So if you look at the delta, you'll see we actually go bring the gap down quite a bit. because higher aero is going to give you better tyre wear. Also, it depends on other components of the setup as well, so it's not just about high aero. But I knew I didn't have to risk it all on one lap, and then if I got under 10%, I would leave myself very, very vulnerable. So in this first sector, this is where he's probably going to maybe pull away or maintain the gap pretty well. With sector 2, sector 3, as the laps go on, I just have confidence that the balance is going to come towards me. And you can already see here, even on the mediums, after 3 to 4 laps, you can see that balance is actually slowly but surely starting to shift. So again, this whole video is just kind of give the example of how I'm driving, but really just trying to drill in. Don't just go for a setup that is going to be the best in like a time trial. Time trial is a good tool. It's good to get used to tracks and learn to push it to your limits, things like that as well. It's good for qualifying practice, things like that. But if you want to be as competitive as possible in the race, really try and think into setups that are going to be good in the dirty air and setups that are not going to really shift the balance too much. And this means you have to test it. So when you do races, 50% races, you have to do the 5 to 10 laps after each quali to test it. And even in last game, I think there were some of my best race setups weren't the fastest setups I used when I did practicing for league races. There were probably other setups that could have given me a 10 for 2, which maybe could have even got me pole in some scenarios.
But you can see Brawny behind me. He's barely catching now because his tyres have already gone.
Yeah, like Brawny, who I'm just saying there,
a car that has a good balance.
One of the fastest drivers on PlayStation on the last game. I know he's on the controller, and apparently the controller is struggling quite a bit on tyres in this game. But you can see his softs have already gone off already. So yeah, that just shows again that the importance of having a setup that is going to be good on its tyres. And like I was just saying, there were setups where I was practicing for league racing on last game, which could have given me a 10 for 2, which could have maybe got me like a pole position in some scenarios. But then over the course of the race, I'd say it could have costed me maybe 2 to 3 seconds over the course of an entire race itself. So those really, really small things can make a big difference. You can see here now, really getting close. So I think now I'm going to probably be using a little bit of battery. See, close, and actually we've got in the DRS, so we've done what we needed to do now. Because every passing lap, I could just see that he was really starting to struggle a bit more. You can see we've got into that dirty air now, so done what you needed to do. And right here now, I'm just going to try and save the battery, and you just hear me saying there, I could already see the guys up ahead.
But because I'm able to keep my balance so much more than everyone else.
Yeah. And I can already see that he's actually started to really struggle.
Softer compound. Normally these mediums would be going off, but
and yeah, I'm just kind of talking over myself here, but I'm basically repeating what I've been saying in this video as well. And I can already see he is starting to really slide around, lose the balance, and every passing lap, despite me being on the softer command, like you can see the dirty air here, not really being affected.
Probably the hard tyres are tyre you
too
want to be on for most
at all.
races.
So.
But if you can have a good balance like this, you can actually use the faster compound and get more out of it. So
yeah, so again, just kind of regurgitating what I've been saying here. So right now, I'm just trying to save as much battery for the final lap. Ideally, I could even maybe be ahead of him, because with the dirty air, I think he'll be suffering a fair bit more me. So you can see the cars wash out wide, but you can see him, he's really sliding on the exit. So he is actually struggling. Not so much in terms of like the tyre wear, but again, just you really lose that balance very quickly. So I decided to overtake him here because I wanted to be leading, and I was just going to test this next lap or two, just how he was behind me in terms of dirty air. Because if he is struggling a lot more than me, then he might actually be better for me to be leading into this last lap. So I think the good thing with the way I drive and the setups here, that I could actually just be leading ahead of someone that'd be affected by dirty air, or if I'm even behind them, I could actually stay close enough where I could actually still have a good opportunity. So you can see go through here, he's actually lost quite a bit of time, so that already says to me, and this is going to be a good sector for me. So I was very confident I was running quite a lot more on the aero than him. So we're going to have a little look behind, probably through here, and you can see he's not super close, but I just felt confident no matter if I was in front or if I was behind, I'm probably going to be close enough to do what I need to do. So on the exit here, I'm not going to be using any of the battery. I don't really mind him overtaking me here, but I think he's going to maybe try and stay behind for the last lap, because I think he knows I'm actually quite good in the dirty air. You can see the car is really wanting to slide around here, so I don't know if I'm going to defend this position. Let's see what we do. We're going to defend it, and looks like to me that's already signaled that he wants to stay behind going into this last lap. You can see the guys behind are really struggling with the penalties, and you can see there's quite a big gap to us and the guys in third place. I can see a guy up ahead of me who's a lapped car. We're actually closing in on him quite quickly, so I was thinking if maybe if we could catch him in the DRS zone, that would be pretty beneficial. So coming into this last lap, want to be as high in the battery as I possibly can. I can afford to run none going through these corners because we've got very good downforce. He's got the dirty air. So come through to here, now we're going to really put on the afterburners. Let's see what we do. So even if he overtakes me to turn 2, I'm going to get the DRS on the exit. So going for his turn 1, just making sure we get a really good exit through here. And you can see, look how much time he has lost. And I'm going to try and get the DRS of this guy up ahead. So the detection point is just before we get to the second braking zone. And I think we are just about to do that. You can see car really wanted to squirm around. Hopefully he doesn't take me out or anything like that. We get the DRS. And yeah, that has really helped us. Could have been quite close with Uniques otherwise, but I still think we probably would have had a better traction as we go in very deep here. And yeah, you can see he's very close here, so I was hoping he wasn't going to go down, move down the inside, but at this point my mediums are definitely going to be in a much worse state than his hard tyres, because yeah, the harder compound, if you could just be on hards the whole race, that's probably going to be the fastest strategy that you could actually do. So coming into the final 2 corners down, no real opportunity to overtake here. You can see again just being silky smooth with the inputs. Coming off this last corner, and we managed to take the win at Austria in this 25%. So I really hope that's been beneficial to you. If you'd like me to keep uploading some raw footage of my entire races where I do a commentary over them in the past, people seem to find that very useful. So please let me know if that's something you'd like me to do. Any questions, put down below. Also, consider clicking the join button. You get to join my Discord, all my updated setups, and you get to speak to me directly with anything you need as well. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that, and hopefully you learned something from that as well. And I will be catching you very soon. Peace.